Good morning. Good morning, and welcome to the Daycare Q&A Show. I'm your host, Adrienne Bradley, from Thriving Childcare, and thank you for joining me here today. So, if you are joining me live this morning for the first time, welcome, and if you are coming back, welcome back. Can you do me a favor and send me some hearts and likes just so I can see you? And if you're catching this on replay, just type hi in the comments so I can say hi to you as well. And if you do me another favor, if you are catching this on a replay, go ahead and hit that like button and consider subscribing too. That would be great. So, a few housekeeping notes. I do this every week. Last week we aired an encore episode because I had a family emergency. But this week we're back live, which leads me to a question this morning. Have you ever had to close your childcare business because of an emergency? Whether it was a family emergency, a household emergency, or just a citywide emergency or something like that. Raise your hand or type in the chat, I had to close. And tell me, how did you handle that? I mean, how did you let the parents know? How did you just share with me how you handled that? It's a little different when we're talking about our businesses versus, of course, this show here. But it can be helpful to other people to see how we handle different things, so they can think about it. Hopefully, they won't have to be in that situation, but if they are, maybe some things that we've shared here can help them as well. Okay, so let's see. There will be no jingling in the back. Usually my dogs are walking around and they're making all kind of jingling noises, but I put them outside for a little while because it's going to get hot here. I'm in California. It's going to get hot here today, and I thought they could get some fresh air before it gets too hot. So it's going to be nice and quiet in here. And as usual, I just want to give this disclaimer. I do this every week as well. I just want to say that the questions and issues we talk about here are from fellow childcare providers, and my opinion and advice are my own, based on my own experience, or the experience of somebody close to me, or some research I've done on an issue or something like that. You, of course, are free to run your business the best way that it works for you, so you can take what you can use from here and leave the rest. Not everything is for everyone, but yeah. So feel no pressure. We're just here to help, and that's it. Basically, this show is here to kind of give us a different perspective. Maybe someone's going through something, and we may never go through that, but maybe we can give them some advice on how to handle the situation, or we can take in that advice ourselves and file it away for if we ever need or we're ever in that situation and we need advice. So that's what this show is all about. Let's see. Oh, and if you have, I just want to remind you, if you are joining me live and you have a question to ask, please put that in the chat, or if you're watching this on replay, go ahead and put your question in the comments. I will do my best to get to it during the show, but if I can't, I'll come back and respond to it after the show. I do have my phone here open. I'm taking some advice from a friend of mine, and I'm trying to, hopefully I can see the show. Yeah, I can see it. So if there's comments, I'm hoping I can see it on my phone, because on this dashboard, for some reason, Facebook is not making it easy for me to see the comments. It could be an Adrienne thing, but hopefully I can see the comments here. So I'll be scrolling up and I'll be checking my phone. So hopefully that's not too distracting. And lastly, as usual, we have our weekly giveaway, and I have something, a little twist on it today, but I'll give you some more information about that later in the show. So stick around for that. But in case you do have to leave early, remember you can catch the show on replay on our YouTube channel. hopefully by tomorrow afternoon. And that link will be in the comments too. Okay, so what's going on in the Thriving Childcare universe this week? First, today's episode is sponsored by the Provider Planner and Organizer. You can see it behind me there. There's our Stripe version. That's our luxury planner just for childcare owners. And by the way, right now, with it being October, the year is winding down. So this is actually a perfect time to order your planner for next year. But the planner, the Provider Planner, is actually undated, so you can start using it as soon as you get it, which is even better. You don't have to wait till January to start planning for next year. 2024 will be here before we know it, but because it's undated, you can use the planner throughout the holidays to manage all of that chaos, and then you have it ready to start logging your ideas and what you do want to do in the coming year. All right, so I'm checking the comments to see. I don't want to miss anything. Denitra, hi Denitra Scott. She says, I love my planner. Thank you. I'm glad you do. It's very handy. And again, this planner is made just for childcare providers. All right, so let's see. Last month, which was just a couple weeks ago, I was excited and honored to host and teach a special webinar for IntelliKid Systems called Exhaustion to Excellence, where I discussed how to overcome exhaustion through self-care and learn about the key elements that contribute to excellence in the field of childcare. And IntelliKid was really gracious, and they opened it up to anyone and everyone who wanted to get in on the webinar. But if you did miss that webinar, and you'd like to catch the replay, please type in the comments "replay please," and I will come back after the show and leave a link where you can watch the replay. Okay, something that I am a big supporter of is self-care. I know what it's like to be a childcare provider and work long hours and not take care of myself, and that is a big piece that leads to exhaustion, overwhelm, and burnout. So if you'd like to catch that replay for free, just type in the chat "replay please," and I will come back in later and drop the link for that. Okay, so this morning we're going to dive into some questions submitted by daycare owners. But before we do that, I've made it a habit every week of going to our planner and looking up what's going on this week, maybe some of the services that you can create either activities or curriculum around that might be fun for the kids. So there's a few this week. So first of all, tomorrow is World Teacher Day. So October 5th is World Teacher Day. So I don't know, you could maybe explain to the children what it means to be a teacher and who are the teachers in their life and who have taught them things. So that would be a good discussion to have with the kids. The next day, October 6th, is actually one of my favorites in the planner. It is Mad Hatter Day. So of course, I don't have to tell you where that comes from. It comes from Alice in Wonderland. But wouldn't it be great to maybe set up an activity where the kids are all wearing hats, or maybe you want to make a hat, have them draw a picture of what they think the prettiest hat would be for them, or something like that, or maybe recreate the whole Mad Hatter Tea Party scene, or even just read from Alice in Wonderland. That would be so much fun. I love that. I love that day. And it's an actual day. Okay, and finally, the first Friday in October, which is this Friday, is World Smile Day. So I can think of a lot of activities you can probably do for World Smile Day. Maybe print out some smile stickers and on Friday when they go home or when they arrive, give them a sticker and explain to them that it is World Smile Day, and maybe tell them we're gonna practice wearing our smiles all day, and we're gonna have a great World Smile Day. So if you have any other ideas, please go ahead and put that in the chat and share your ideas for us. But I love those observances. Okay, so let's dive into some of the questions that we have today. The first question, it says, I have a 3.5-year-old that goes poop 6 or 7 times a day. I have this child from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Ooh, 12 hours. The parents have absolutely no interest in potty training. I just can't handle it anymore because of all the work. And on top of that, the parent doesn't even pay the full rate. The parent was one of my first families, so they pay almost $100 a week less than other families. I really want to terminate, but I just don't know if that's the right thing to do or the ethical thing to do or how to even handle the situation. For the record, it is not just the poopy diapers. It gets all up her back because the diapers they bring are too small, and when they put her in pull-ups, it's an even bigger mess because they don't hold poop like that. And my house smells awful. I'm just not sure what to do. Okay, well there's a lot going on here. First of all, 6 or 7 times a day. I don't know. That might be an issue for the parents to bring up to the pediatrician. I don't know. I've had kids over the years that had digestive issues and special diets and so forth that because of their digestive issues. So I don't know if that's an issue there. First of all, the 6 to 6 p.m. that is a long day, a really long day, and just a suggestion. I mean, I think when I started, I had a similar schedule, but I soon realized that it was better for me to adopt the 9-hour rule. And if you don't know what the 9-hour rule is, I wrote an article about it quite a while ago, and I'll link to that in the show notes for this episode. But the 9-hour rule in my business, and I know a lot of other childcare providers also have this 9-hour rule, but what it basically is that clients use the childcare for a period of 9 hours. So the 8 hours that typically someone works their job, and then a half an hour on either side for them to commute and pick up and drop off the child. So that might be something you want to look at, because a 12-hour day is a really long day. Now, don't get me wrong, my day was still 12 hours, or close to 11 hours. But because of the me putting that 9-hour rule in place, it kind of lessened the load. The day kind of tapered off, and I didn't have as many children either on the front end or the back end of my day. So that's something to consider, because those days are really long. And I've said it here, and I'll say it again. I did the math one time, and what it came out to be was, at the end of the year, with a schedule like that, we were working something like, I can take my glasses off. We were working something like an extra 2 to 2.5 weeks a year more than the average worker. And that's a lot. And that's without a doubt what leads a lot of us to burnout. We're working so many hours, and that's just with the kids. That is just with the kids. That's not even usually having anything to do with shopping or cleaning or advertising or paperwork. There's so many hats that we wear. So being conscious of how many hours you actually work in your business, and doing your best to mitigate that with maybe instituting something like the 9-hour rule, or some way to not work as hard and long as we typically do, might be a good place to start here. But I want to go back to some of the other things that you mentioned here. Okay, so the parents have so the child is 3.5 years old and they have no interest in potty training. Well, here's the thing. Like I said before, I'm in California. So with my clients over the years, typically at age 3, they would start to be leaving my program because a lot of the centers and preschools started taking the children even younger. And I know that they changed when I started my business years and years ago. They required the children to be potty trained, but they since kind of lightened that up after the real estate bubble, and people were losing jobs, they were losing clients, so they kind of changed that, and they were accepting children that weren't potty learned. But I would do my best to start talking to the parents about what that looks like. Maybe explain to them, the money that they're going to save when the child is potty learned and they don't have to buy those diapers anymore. Because you're right, the pull-ups are not meant to hold all that. They're meant for a child that is trying to learn how to go to the potty. So do your best to start having that conversation over and over, because the longer they wait, in my opinion, the longer they wait, the harder it is going to be to introduce that to the child, because they're used to just going in the diaper or in the pull-up. So that's another thing to start conversating with them about. I know years ago I had a client that was very similar. I don't think he was 3.5, but my grandchild was, yes, I have grandchildren. She was visiting at the time, and she was already potty learned. And the parent was either dropping off or picking up or something around the time that she was going to the potty. And they were kind of amazed because the child was about the same age. And so they started to realize, this is age appropriate. They should be starting to learn how to go to the potty. And so I'm checking the comments here. And so that kind of was an encouragement to them to start working with their child as well. So do your best to continuously have that conversation so that they can start realizing, that this is something that is developmentally appropriate, and that they should be, starting to introduce this to their child, and maybe give them some pointers, maybe print out some pointers. Maybe I have a book that talks about potty learning, and when I had children around that age group or around that developmental stage, I would read that to them. There was also a video that was a song about potty learning, and the children would start to sing the song. And I had I don't know if anybody uses DVDs anymore. I still have mine, but I had a DVD of that potty learning panda. I can't even remember, and it was a panda. But on occasion, I would loan them the DVD. So just to get the conversation going, so they realize, let's start approaching this, because it is necessary. It is definitely necessary. Okay, so there's that. Now, you mentioned that adding to your frustration is the fact that this particular client is paying tuition that is about $100 less than all your other clients. First of all, you need to address that with yourself. How did that happen? I know you said that that was one of your first clients, so maybe you locked that in early or something, but as time passes, you obviously raised your rates. Theirs should have been raised as well. We're used to, I think as providers, we get nervous. I know this because I did. We get nervous when we go to even consider raising our rates. Some don't. Some are completely fine with that. But we need to realize that in society, people are used to that. They don't like it. They don't love it. But they do get used to it, just like the gas right now. What options do we have unless we're going to go and get excuse me, an electric car or make some kind of change like that, the only other option is to drive less, so we don't need as much gas, or pay it. So same here, giving notice that your rates are going to increase. It's kind of expected. They will never bring it up to you and then suggest it, don't get me wrong, but if your other clients are paying that rate, then you have every reason to believe that they will as well. And if you consider terminating this client, then obviously I'm going to assume that you don't have the concern of replacing that client. That you would probably easily be able to replace that client at the rate that you're at now. So why not go ahead and introduce that increase to your current client? Also, start to, I've said this before, and it was something that I adopted over time, was to develop these internal policies. And what I mean by that is for myself. Instead of allowing myself to get sucked into something that I hadn't thought through or I didn't want to do, I gave myself time and space to consider it and come back to it with a person before I agreed to it out of hand. Okay? So maybe start thinking about how this happened and how you can prevent it from happening in the future. Okay, was it something that you initially said when you were first starting out? Maybe putting a boundary or parameters around it, because that's where I got stuck one time. I've said here before, I had a client that was going through some issues in her family and a potential divorce, and she was having some money issues, she said, and she didn't know how she was going to handle the tuition. Well, me being, caught in the moment and wanting to retain that client and feeling it necessary to just over deliver and people please, which was my my issue at the time, I of course offered to reduce her rate. Here's the problem: I didn't put any boundaries around that, so her rate never went back to where it was. And just like this provider here, I started to feel a bit of resentment, especially when she shared with me that she had just bought a house. Now, I don't know if someone helped her with her down payment or what that really was, but in my mind, it was like, okay, so you're able to afford to do that, and yet you're still paying this reduced rate. So what I learned from that was to, if I did make a change to my procedures and policies, number one, give myself time to consider what that should look like and whether or not I should do it at all, but also to put some boundaries around it, like a deadline and a timeline. I mean, in that situation, I remember talking to my son, and he said, Mom, people go through troubles. They do, but trouble don't last always. So maybe I could have offered to reduce her rate for a month or 3 months or a week. I don't know. But it did teach me to realize that I don't have to answer in the moment. So consider how that happened, and maybe start thinking about different ways to make sure that doesn't happen again. You don't get locked into something that's forever when that's not what you want to do. I mean, no other business basically would do that. For the most part. I'm not going to say there's not exceptions, but for the most part, they wouldn't want to get locked into something forever. A price, anything, an agreement, So we need to think about our businesses in the same way and not allow ourselves to get locked into something that is not going to be sustainable for our business. So start to think about that. All right. So I'm going to move on. I stayed on that a lot because I had a lot to say about that, but she had a lot going on. So I really hope that you take some of that and that it helps you. Okay. All right. The next question. I've been seeing more and more posts about grants for childcare providers lately, but how do I know if it's a scam or not? That is a great question. I haven't answered a question like that here before. So first of all, let's address what a scam is. Okay? Basically, and you can fact check me, you can go to Google and look up what is considered the description of a scam. But basically, when it all boils down, it's somebody promising you something that you don't get, and you paying for that. You paying for something that you're ultimately not getting, or they promise you, overpromise something that's really not deliverable and really kind of impossible. Okay? Put any scenario to that. Okay? But the issue here is that we've kind of been conditioned to think that anytime somebody's asking us for payment for a service or a product or something like that, our antennas go up and we get suspicious that it might be a scam. We're not going to get what we're being promised. Okay, and that's not always the truth, and for the most part, it isn't the truth. But we've been, suspicious about a lot of things in society right now, so we get nervous about things like that. But I want to talk to you about having a scarcity mindset, because a lot of that is because we are not viewing our business and what we do as value, as having value. All right? And if we did, let's just take a scenario like your kitchen. Okay? We realize that we need pots and pans and silverware and so forth. But my husband was saying the other night, we need, what's happening with all the forks? And all the forks are gone. And I was like, well, I'm not eating the forks. I don't know what happened to the forks. But basically, we need to buy new forks. Over time, we'll probably need to buy new dishes, new glassware, new pots and pans, because either they're worn out, they've gotten chipped, we dropped them, we gave them away some kind of way, whatever. We realize that we need to replenish that, or we need to get new. We need to get new things. So when it comes to our business, we need to think about that in the same way. There could be processes that we've done for years, and yeah, they work, but what if there was a different way of doing it that saved you time and or money? Wouldn't that be worth investing in and implementing something like that? Because you're going to get the return back in your time and money. And I'll give you a scenario specifically to childcare. When I started my childcare, I was coming from interning at a center where they did the daily notes, and I thought, oh, this is great. When I start my program, I'm going to do the daily notes too, and I did, and my clients loved it. And I did the same thing that I had done at the center, which was to write them out. Well, at the center, there were several teachers and aides and assistants, to write out these daily notes. But when I started my business, it was just me, and eventually just one assistant. And so as the enrollment went up, that was more and more notes to write every day. And I remember my hand cramping up from writing these notes. And the cherry on top, the biggest insult, is because the next day sometimes I would find the notes all crumpled up in the children's diaper bags, and I would get so annoyed because I knew how long it took us to write out these notes. Nap time was filled with writing out these notes. Well, long story long, eventually, and it was sometime later, I noticed that the parents started using apps to track their infants, day schedule and all this kind of stuff. And so I started to research. This is years ago. I know there's a number of apps now, and you probably know about them. But years ago, this was new. And I found an app that I was interested in, but it was, of course, a paid service, right? Well, before I threw it out of hand, I was already writing these notes. I realized that using the app was going to save me money, because all of the paper that I had to use to write out those notes every day, I knew how much that cost because I was going to Office Depot and printing those off every week. So I knew how much that was costing me, and the app was actually less. Not to mention, I found so many other ways to use the app. So it was a good investment in my business because it saved me time and money. And it created what do you call it? A history. I could go back and show a parent where I had put this on their notes. Oh, I said on Monday that they needed more diapers or something like that. So we need to start thinking differently about investing in our business. Not everything is a scam. Not everything is going to be for free. Even our license isn't free. So it's okay. I get it. And I can go on about being a mom and a single mom at one point and going to this favorite store that I had because I knew I was going to get a bargain there. Here's where the problem came in. Over the years, my mindset was stuck in that store. I didn't think I could buy anything that wasn't in that store, even though I had gotten a better job, had more income to play with. I was stuck in that scarcity mindset that I could only afford things that came from this bargain store. Whereas I could have afforded to go to Target or some other places where I could actually find the things that I was looking for and not say, oh, well, they don't have it. But what I'm trying to get across to you here is that you can get stuck in a certain mindset. And if you invested in your business, maybe it would get you where you want to go, okay? Or faster, or save you money, or free up more time. So start to think about different opportunities in that way. Now, going back to this question, there are scams out there. Do your due diligence. Be a little suspicious, but check. You know, if you think it's a scam, I had a friend, she just recently went and searched on a particular opportunity and looked for their website. Does it look legit? Is there somebody you can talk to? Where are the testimonials? Where are the prior clients? Can I email you? Can I talk to somebody on the phone? You can. This is very, very simple things you can do. That you would do for any other type of business, okay? So do your due diligence, but just because they're asking for payment doesn't necessarily mean that they're a scam. I actually had someone email me and accuse me of being a scam. And I wrote back to them and said, absolutely not. Absolutely not. A lot of the products and services that we offer at Thriving Childcare are based out of finding solutions, the solutions that I found to run my business and make it easier. And I'm just sharing that with you. So some of them, you can find some resources that are very low cost. You can find, I have some that are free, but not everything, based on the time and thought and research that goes into products and services. And if they can save you time and money, they're very much worth it. You're going to get it back. You're going to get it back. So I hope I gave you some ideas how to look at certain things. A lot of things that sound too good to be true may very well be too good to be true. But you owe it to yourself and to your business to look into it. And take your time. Don't be, I used to be super impulsive, and I really tried to correct that and take my time, just like I was saying, putting time and space in between dealing with something with a parent. Do the same, but don't be afraid to invest in your business. It is a business. It is a business that you've worked hard to build, and it's worthy. It's worthy of you getting more resources and making it easier and having it run better and be sustainable. So I hope that helped. All right. I think this is our last question. Yeah. Okay. So our last question is, hello, I'm looking for advice about how to find clients. I keep hearing about there being a childcare crisis and so-called childcare deserts. But in the meantime, I'm struggling with low numbers and not enough clients. Help. Okay. This is a question that we talk about here quite a lot because, yeah, you're right. I think the pandemic highlighted to the world, basically, the need for childcare and the value of childcare. But it's not the same for everyone in every place, right? I talk to providers that are all over the world, and of course things are different in different parts of the world, but they're also different in parts of our country here in the U.S. And in Canada. So not every city, not every state is going to have the same situation. So there are places where there are childcare deserts, and there's a great need for childcare. And if somebody could plop a childcare down, maybe even 3 or 4 childcares in that area, they would probably do very well. And then there's other places where that's very much not the case. So what I've discussed here, and I will probably say it to the end of time, is to market. And I know that sounds super simplistic, but market all the time, right? So even when your numbers are up, even when you maybe don't even see it opening for, I don't even know, maybe a year or something like that, I would still say market. And the reason is because, number one, you're exercising that muscle. If something you're always doing, just like anything else, you get into the habit and the routine of doing it, okay? The other thing is, experience tells me I could be full one day, and the next day, 3 clients say that they're leaving. Various reasons. They're putting their child in preschool, they're putting their child, or they're moving, someone lost their job, they can't afford it anymore. A myriad of reasons. A myriad of reasons. But because I was constantly marketing, I would either have a wait list to go to from people who said that they would be interested in a spot, or I could immediately go and change my ad to say immediate openings. Maybe you want to offer, like I was talking about earlier, a limited reduced rate for, to get those clients in, those new clients in. But do put some parameters around that. But there's a lot of things you can do. First of all, make sure that you have your website up and you're putting on your website that you have openings and how to contact you and how to set up a tour, and your message, your phone message. If you don't have a dedicated line for your business, consider getting a Google number and using that for your business. I know a lot of people don't want to do that because they don't think that that's like the professional phone numbers, but it is going to give you that option, and I've used that for years, and I know a lot of other companies do that as well. So a Google number is free. Get that Google number and make sure you have a message up on there asking them to leave their information, and that you'll get right back to them. Sometimes it's a timing issue. They might not hear from you and immediately move on. Maybe think about expanding your program. Do you take infants? Do you take older children? I'm going to be, and I keep threatening to do this, but I am going to be talking about different business models that I have seen different providers use and be very successful. And it's not the standard model, not the model that I even had. But it was because I lacked that imagination. I didn't realize that I could have done something like that. So I will be talking about that. I haven't decided if it's going to be what form that's going to take, as an article or something else, but we will be talking about that in the near future. But right now, figure out different ways that you can market your business every single day. Talk to your current clients. Ask them if they have family and friends and coworkers that need childcare. Talk to some of the businesses that are in your community, and let them know that your childcare is right there to help with any childcare needs that their employees might have. When you're out, make sure you have your business cards. I actually have a virtual business card, and I talked my friend into setting one up too. And basically, it is a business card that I keep in my images on my phone, and it has a QR code that leads right to my website. Or you could do something like that very, very easily. But when you're out, make sure that you know, if you see a family, I probably, this sounds really simplistic, but you probably know the drill. But find new ways to market every single day, every single month. Continuously market your business. Maybe reach out to the school, see if there is a need in the after school program. Maybe it's full. Maybe you can get some clients that way. Maybe you want to do a direct mail campaign or it's not even direct mail, right? When you're walking around and you might put your business cards in the neighborhood doors or on the cars or whatever. You would be surprised about all the different ways you can market your business. And I know for a fact that I, for one, didn't take advantage of all those different ways. So I know that there's some ways that you probably haven't explored. So start writing those down and start implementing them every week, a different one. Every week, reach out to your CCRC. I'm just thinking, reach out to your CCRCs and see, or your CCRs, and see if, make sure you're on their roll call and that they send you referrals. So the biggest thing I can say to finding new clients is to market all the time. You might want to think about putting some perks up. I have an article about that as well. I'll leave a link to that in the show notes here. But get that marketing muscle going, okay? And I know that very shortly you're going to have the clients that you need and you're going to fill out those spots. But market, market, market. That is something that every other business does. You don't see a week that goes by without Michael's putting up an ad or Target putting up an ad. They market all the time, and everybody knows about Target and Michael's. You would think probably really don't have to advertise, but they do. And they run specials, and they're limited specials, but they constantly are getting their business brand out there in our subconscious every week. And so we need to take that inspiration and think of our businesses as something that we need to constantly let the community know that we're there. And the timing could be absolutely perfect for somebody today to find you and to become a new client. Okay? All right. So let's see where we are on time. Let me scroll down. Let me see, did I miss any comments? Because I've been talking. Okay, doesn't look like I did. All right. So hopefully you guys are catching this on replay. I do see a couple people that have joined me and have jumped in and out, and I know what that's like. I know you're super busy. So I will end with that. But again, if you have any questions, you watch this on replay, go ahead and drop those in the comments. Let me talk to you about the giveaway this week. So I actually have a survey. All right. Now, I know nobody necessarily likes surveys, so I'm rewarding you. If you take this 3-minute survey, and it truly is just 3 minutes, okay, it'll only take you 3 minutes to do this, maybe even less, then you will get a gift card, okay? And everyone who completes the survey will get a gift card, all right? So I'm leaving a link to the survey in the chat here, so you can go over directly and take that survey and get your gift card today. And you can use the gift card to invest in your business, all right? Even a small investment is an investment, but get that free gift card. I mean, we just started talking about, we were just talking about how much we love free things, but so take advantage of that. take advantage of that this week. So go to the link, follow the link in the comments, and go take that quick survey, 3 minutes, and you will get a gift card. All right. So let's wrap it up. Remember, you can always submit any questions early. Just go to Thriving Childcare / What's Your Question. That's Thriving Childcare / What's Your Question. I will leave that link in the show notes as well. And you can just leave your question for next week, and I'll either answer it on the show or I'll answer it in the comment. I'll answer on the show. Sorry. All right. So I am Adrienne Bradley, your host for the Daycare Q&A Show, and I want to thank you for joining me here again. I'm loving this show, and I'm loving the comments and the interaction. So thank you. Thank you so much. And I can't wait to continue this journey with you next week. But until then, keep thriving. All right. I'll talk to you next week.